Hello viewers, you're watching VNA News Agency's Daily Bulletin. Coming up next are the headlines. President Trần Đại Quang addresses Singapore lecture before concluding visit to Singapore. Cabinet meeting reviews socio-economic tasks in August and the year's first 8 months. Vietnamese and Chinese ministers of national defense hold talks in Beijing. President Trần Đại Quang left Singapore on August 30th, concluding his state-level visit at the invitation of President Tony Tan Cang Yam. Earlier, President Quang met with senior Singaporean officials and addressed Singapore lecture.
In the morning the same day, President Trần Đại Quang had a working breakfast with Deputy Prime Minister and Coordinating Minister for National Security, Thieu Chie Hien. The President noted that economic cooperation is the spotlight in the two countries' relations, and thus the two sides should make full use of new opportunities and benefits offered by the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement and the ASEAN Economic Community. They agreed on the necessity to enhance cooperation between naval, air, medical, military, and search and rescue forces, while expanding affiliation to the fields of mutual concerns such as combating terrorism and sharing experience in ensuring cybersecurity. Earlier the same day, President Quang met with Singaporean Emeritus Senior Minister Goh Chok Tong, during which he highlighted the fact that Vietnam and Singapore have agreed on numerous measures to boost the bilateral strategic partnership. Singapore has become one of the leading trade and investment partners of Vietnam, he said, adding that Minister Goh Chok Tong has laid the foundation to elevate bilateral relations to strategic partnership in 2013. Minister Goh Chok Tong confirmed Singaporean leaders wish to work closely with Vietnamese counterparts to expand successful cooperative models between two countries. President Trần Đại Quang also addressed the 30th Singapore lecture held by the Institute of Southeast Asian Studies. Some 550 delegates listened to the speech by the President, who is the first Vietnamese leader who attended and addressed Singapore lecture. President Quang said, with a vision beyond its own interests, ASEAN has been expressing its voice, ever stronger and more responsible over the common concerns of the international and regional community, and has been very successful in drawing the strategic engagement of major powers. Vietnam pays close attention to strengthening traditional friendship with neighbor countries, promoting cooperation with major and important partners, improving integration effectiveness, and accomplishing all international commitments, he told participants. Regarding the East issue, the Vietnamese leader reiterated the consistent position to remain resolute and persistent in the defense of national independence, sovereignty, and territorial unity and integrity. He also fielded questions raised by researchers and academicians on measures to enhance ASEAN's role and voice, together with orientations to bolster Vietnam-Singapore ties.
The government convened its regular monthly meeting on August 30th with an agenda focusing on institutions building and reviewing the implementation of socio-economic tasks in August and the year's first 8 months.
Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc said that last month, 2 storms hit the country, causing damages to the northern mountainous region. He noted several major events during the month, including a national teleconference on the environment, drawing lessons from the serious incident related to Formosa Hà Tĩnh and the 29th Diplomatic Conference. He said localities are striving to reform their way of thinking and working style towards making the business community a driving force for growth, improving the business and investment environment, and fostering startups. Mentioning the acquisition of major enterprises with high profits, the government leaders stressed the need to ensure transparency and publicity of the process, thus winning trust of both domestic and foreign investors. During the 2.5-day meeting, Cabinet members are expected to comment on a draft decree on the issuance of the government's working regulations and contribute opinions on 5 draft laws, 1 decree, 1 ordinance, and several other important legal documents. The Prime Minister also requested ministries, agencies, and localities to seriously review the implementation of socio-economic development in August and the first 8 months of 2016, with the resolve of achieving the target set by the National Assembly. During the session, which is scheduled to last until September the 1st, the government will also hear a report on the management and use of public assets.
Vietnamese Minister of Defense Ngô Xuân Lịch held talks with his Chinese counterpart Chang Wang-Quan in Beijing on August 30th. The ministers held that defense cooperation is important to the Vietnam-China Comprehensive Strategic Partnership and a pillar enhancing ties between the two parties and states. They affirmed their determination to successfully hold the 4th Border Defense Exchange in 2017, maintain high-level exchanges, and effectively carry out Deputy Minister-level defense strategic dialogues, among others. They discussed outstanding differences which have affected relations between the two countries, the SC issue. Lịch reiterated Vietnam's stance to resolving differences by peaceful means and observing international law. ASEAN considers China to be one of its important partners, the Vietnamese minister said, adding, however, disputes over sovereignty in the East Sea are posing challenges to the ASEAN-China strategic partnership. Lịch said enhancing the ASEAN-China cooperation in seeking solutions for the East Sea issue plays an important role. The Chinese minister said China wants to solve differences through friendly consultation. Following the talks, the two ministers witnessed the signing of a memorandum of understanding on cooperation between Vietnam's Institute for Military Strategies and China's Academy of Military Science. As part of his tour to China, Defense Minister General Ngô Xuân Lịch paid a courtesy visit to Politburo member and Vice President Lee Yuan-Chiao. Minister Lịch said Vietnam wishes to develop the comprehensive strategic cooperative partnership with China in a sustainable manner and considers this the country's top priority in its foreign policy. Vice President Lee Yuan-Chiao affirmed the Chinese party and state always support the two countries' armies in strengthening their cooperation, contributing to fostering the development of the Vietnam-China Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. General Lịch also met with Senior Lieutenant General Phan Chang Long, Politburo member and Vice Chairman of the China Communist Party's Central Military Commission. The two sides discussed development orientation for their military cooperation in the coming time. Regarding the East Sea issue, Lịch affirmed Vietnam always honestly expects, together with China, to settle disputes on the basis of equality, mutual respect, and respect for international law. The Vietnam-Cambodia Joint Committee for Land Border Demarcation and Marker Planting held a meeting in Phnom Penh on August 29th and 30th. Vietnamese Vice Foreign Minister, head of the National Border Committee Lê Hoài Trung, and Cambodian Senior Minister and Government Advisor for Border Issues Va Kim Hong co-chaired the event.
Vietnam and Cambodia have fully about 83% of the goals they set in the Treaty on the Delimitation of National Boundaries in 1985 and a supplementary treaty in 2005. At the meeting, the two sides discussed how to address shortcomings such as implementing bilateral treaties and agreements on boundary delimitation and territory, and inviting international experts to consult. They also discussed how to stabilize the lives of residents of the Mekong Delta province of Long An and the Central Highland province of Dak Lak in areas sharing borders with Cambodia. The delegates agreed to accelerate the construction of auxiliary border markers and complete profiles on border demarcation. They also raised problems in border management work. On this occasion, Vice Foreign Minister Lê Hoài Trung paid a courtesy visit to Cambodian Senior Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Prak Sokhon.
Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc has asked ministries, sectors and localities to step up measures to ensure traffic safety and social order while meeting the travel demands of passengers during the upcoming National Day vacation.
Agencies were required to strengthen supervision of road sections along the key highways, particularly the routes to enter in and out of Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, in order to prevent traffic jams and accidents. The Prime Minister has also directed ministries and sectors to encourage the use of public transport instead of private vehicles, as to step up dissemination about traffic safety on social media. He also asked the Ministry of Transport to direct units to coordinate with authorities of the relevant ministries, sectors and localities in examining accident-prone sites and to take actions to correct them. Ongoing transport infrastructure projects were required to ensure safety during their works in order to prevent accidents among road users in those areas. He also asked that inspections of the operation of means of transport on roads, inland waterways, and aviation also be strengthened. Activities to increase people's awareness of traffic safety and reduce accidents during holidays and new school year were also required to be improved. Violations of traffic regulations, particularly those concerning speed, alcohol use, overloaded trucks and vehicles with expired registrations, will be strictly fined.
Maps and documentaries affirming Vietnam's sovereignty over Hoàng Sa, known as Paracel, and Trường Sa Spratly archipelagos, are displayed in Nghĩa Hưng, one of the 3 coastal districts in the Red River Delta province of Nam Định. The exhibits are historical and legal evidence of Vietnam's sovereignty over archipelagos. On display are also projects and photos featuring Vietnam's exercise of sovereignty on Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa, as well as Nam Định people's efforts to protect the country's seas and islands. The exhibition helps raise the awareness of the need to safeguard the national sovereignty over the archipelagos among local authorities and residents, particularly those in coastal areas. Similar events are scheduled to be held in other localities across the province. The exhibition will run until September 4th. As many as 250 photos selected from the Vietnam Fine Art Photograph Awards 2016 are being displayed in the Mekong Delta province of Kiên Giang. The exhibition is one of activities as part of the National Tourism Year 2016.
Launched 4 months ago with 2 themes, Discovering the Southern Land and Freestyle, the Vietnam Fine Art Photograph Awards received nearly 9,000 entries from 1,312 photographers across the country.
Discovering the Southern Land is a favorite topic for many photographers. The photos introduced to the public and photography lovers a rich and charming land.
Among 250 displayed photos, 25 were awarded, including 2 golds, 3 silvers, 6 bronzes, and 14 consolation prizes.
My photo was taken at a time when the Bạc Liêu Wind Power project was going to join the national grid. Through the photo, I'd like to convey a message that socio-economic development should be combined with environmental protection. Generally, entries submitted to this year's competition have high quality, especially color photos. Many of them truthfully reflect the life, land and people.
This exhibition is expected to promote tourism potentials in the Mekong Delta region in particular, and Vietnam in general. It will run through September 5th.
And that has come to the end of our program. Thank you for joining us. I'll see you again.